In number 8, we're supposed to prove the identity. So these lines mean that it's not an equation. We can't add and subtract on both sides. We just got to take the one side and make it look like the other. So first I'm going to start by rewriting it. And my first thought is I'm going to take the tangent and rewrite it as sine over cosine. As I write that, I like it because I notice the denominators are the same. So I combine those because when I subtract fractions, I need to have the same denominator. So that becomes 1 minus sine squared or over cosine all squared. Now I look up there and it's got a 1 minus sine. I see if I square the numerator and then square the denominator, I can do this. And the reason I've thought of this is because I know that cosine squared is equal to 1 minus sine squared. And that seems closer to what we're supposed to look like. And then 1 minus sine squared is a difference of two squares. And of course 1 minus sine squared is 1 minus sine times 1 minus sine. So when I do this, I end up noticing that the 1 minus sine x's can cancel out, leaving me with exactly what I'm supposed to have, the right-hand side. Awesome. Now in part 2, they want us to solve the equation. Okay, so now what you've got to be careful with is that they're going to usually show you something like the thing you just proved. But notice there's going to be changes. Here they made it equal to 1/3, but they also, instead of it being cosine x, it's now 2x. So if we had done 2x all the way through, we just would end up with 1 minus sine 2x and 1 plus sine 2x. So I make that equal to 1/3, and then it's going to be in radians, and my answers are going to be between 0 and pi. And so my first thought is two fractions equal to each other, so I'm going to cross multiply and then distribute, giving me 3 minus 3 sine 2x is equal to 1 plus sine 2x. I want to get the signs together, so I'm going to subtract the sine 2x on both sides, and I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 3 on both sides. And now I'm going to divide, and I end up with sine negative 1 of 1/2 is going to equal 2x. So I go and make sure I'm in radians. And once I get radians, I go and do the inverse sine of 1/2. And I find out that it's equal to 1/6 pi, which is the same thing as pi over 6. So I'm going to go and figure out my other angle. And keep in mind, pi over 6 is the same thing as 30 degrees. 180 divided by 6 is 30 degrees. So I've got to go across the y-axis, and inside this little angle is 30 degrees, or pi over 6, and underneath this little one is also pi over 6. So if I do pi minus pi over 6, that'll give me the second angle. And I can just use the calculator if I want to, pi minus pi over 6. And that's going to give me 6 pi, or 5 pi over 6. And then you've got to remember that we're equal to 2x, so I've got to get the x by itself, which means divide by 2. I need to get, to make sure I got all my angles, I want to get from 0 to 2 pi. But if I add 2 more pi to make more angles, well, that's going to be too big. And if I add 2 pi to this, it's obviously going to be too big. So these are my only two guys. I'm just going to divide by 2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. And that's going to give me pi over 12 for the one answer. And the other answer is going to be 5 pi over 12. And that's it. We're good to go. Thanks for watching.